You all know we have a client from the meat export industry. So if you guys just present your part of the planning, we'll have an understanding of the industry before we take on the client.
As far as the IT aspect goes, there are some key financial accounts relating to the businesses in the meat export industry, such as inventory, export packing, and accounts receivable. These accounts has heavy transactions and heavy balances. So digitizing these documents through the use of technology will have major benefits, such as reducing physical storage space and having ease of access. Even these IT-dependent accounts also makes mistakes, such as inaccurately processing the data, or the data might be stored in a non-readable format which might result in the loss of audit trail. To tackle this issue, the auditor may need to utilize one of the CATs known as Generalized Audit Software for substantive testing as part of his audit strategy. So, since accounts receivable has the highest risk of inaccuracies and the relevant assertion is AVA, the auditor need to resolve that by selecting a sample of transactions with larger outstanding balances and compare the credit limit of the data with their respective outstanding balances. Compile the total amounts of these data. Compare the records of current year with previous year to ensure completeness and print confirmation letters. Thank you.
Before setting up the things for an expert, first of all, we need to evaluate that do you have any complex account in this industry or not. Actually, we don't think that we need an expert opinion because we don't have any kind of account where we need some specific valuation, accounts like sales and inventory and all. Secondly, we have some contracts for purchase and sales, so we can take the values from the purchase and sales contract, so we don't need the expert opinion either. Lastly, for assets, we have the market value to get the exact valuation of the assets. So we don't need any expert opinion either. But there is something called the climate change where we might need an expert opinion because climate has a huge impact on the COGS of the meat export industry when it comes to the question of accuracy. Lastly, Australia have droughts in everywhere in the world. You can see in the slides as well. But we don't know how much it is impacting our COGS. So we might need a meteorology to have the exact impact of the droughts in our COGS.
When it comes to the going concern assessment, it is found that majority of the Australian meat exporters prepare their annual report assuming that they can continue as a going concern. However, there are certain external factors which are likely to change that assumption. One of those factors is competition. With the increase in live animal exports, the meat exporters are likely to suffer with a decline in sales. And with the increase in international competition, they're also likely to suffer because of their own high operational and capital costs compared to that of the other countries. And we also have another factor, which is change in consumption behavior in the developed world. Due to the dietary and health concern, it is likely that a lot of people have reduced meat consumption in the western region of the world, and it is likely to be followed in the other regions in the future as well. And with the developments of non-meat substitutes, such as vegan meat, a lot of people are adapting to a vegan or vegetarian diet, which means that the demand for meat exports will fall. These external factors imply that the going concern ability of the Australian meat exporters will be negatively affected and it needs to be assessed.
As our client is in the meat export industry, sales and inventory are some critical accounts. Though these are generic to all kinds of businesses, they are not the same here because the sales is not in Australian dollars and the inventory is cattle. Sales would be a key audit matter for discussion here because of the complexity. Sales is not in the same country, it is in a different country, so there is a high risk of overstatement or understatement. We need to know about the point of recognition, the duties, the charges, and the exchange rates. As an auditor, we should look at the contracts to know about the exchange rates and whether they are accounted for properly. We need to look at the shipping documents so that we know about the point of recognition, the charges, and if the sales in transit are recorded properly.
Audit opinion, if we look at the annual reports of the Australian meat export industry on an average and look the economic environment and the current regulatory environment, our most likely opinion would be unmodified opinion. As the regulatory environment, Australian Department of Agriculture and Water Resources introduced the export meat program, which do the inspections, verification, and give certifications, and even do the audit for the industry and segregation of exporters to do the frequency of audits. If we go to the economic environment, then decreasing Australian currency value and increasing global consumption indicate that there is no risk of going concern. So all these tight regulations and no going concern indicate that the clients work in a proper way. So our audit opinion should most likely be unmodified opinion. In other case, if there is any risk of non-compliance occur, then our audit opinion would be qualified, although our most likely opinion would be unmodified opinion. Thank you.